Welcome to my Invisalign journey. So currently I'm about a quarter way into my treatment. I started my Invisalign treatment on June the 16th, I believe, and that was the day when they went in and took pictures. They first just took regular pictures, and then they also scanned it with this wand. So it was like a digital markup of my teeth that they would send off to Invisalign, and then they can create my trays. On July 7th is when I went in and got my first set of trays, and the journey commenced. Now, it started off really emotional for me. My biggest insecurity in the world is actually my teeth. I started to cry. I ended up being late for my appointment because of this, but I started crying a lot, like a baby. That I realized I had no pictures of me smiling whatsoever. They were all like half smiles, or, you know, just with my mouth closed always. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not my natural smile. You know, I was doing that consciously because I didn't want anybody to see my teeth. So I took selfies of myself and with my cat just to sort of remind myself of why I'm doing it. And I just wanted to have at least, you know, one picture with my, with my old crooked teeth, the originals, before I started this treatment. For the first appointment, I went in and they fitted me with the first set of trays. I was checked over to make sure everything fit. Everything was perfect and good to go. In that initial visit, I also, I received these things. You get like these little tray holders that for when you eat, to take them out and put them in here. The way they say is to, have the two. This one is your primary one, so, you have this with you all the time. You take them out, you put them in when you eat, put them back in. And this year, you're supposed to put in the last tray that you took off. So just in case something happens to the current tray that you have in, you can go back to your previous one. And then when you visit your dentist, he can help you just determine what your course of action is. I also then got these chewies. Now this is a little closed packet. There's 2 of them in here, but I actually have one just to show you. And it looks like this. It's just a little bit of it's a rubber, and all you basically do is when you put your trays in, you have to chew on it, like so. That's to help seat the Invisalign onto your teeth. If it's not all the way, on top of your little buttons or the attachments, it just help push it up. I also got these, they're little golf tees, and that's to help, in particular for me, this teeth up here, and it's just, I'm supposed to or any other teeth, you just kind of help to seat the aligners. Usually this becomes handy on the first day when you have a new tray in. The first 2 sets of trays that I had didn't have any attachments on them. I only got my attachments on the 3rd. I have them there. They're like little buttons on your teeth. If the tooth has to shift, if it has to rotate, then they put these little buttons and they help with that rotation. Or if the movement is a little bit more exaggerated, it helps with that. It also helps keep the Invisalign trays in place. It was a really simple process. It was actually like a little disposable tray that they had. It was the same as the 3rd tray, and they had the cementing compound that was already filled into those little cracks. They popped it on. They UV'd the teeth so that it would bond, and that was that. I had my little buttons. Some people may not even need the little attachments. It just really depends on the severity of your case and how much shifting or movement your teeth have to go through. I'm going to show you the proper way to put them in and take them out. There are YouTubers out there who take out their trays in the absolute worst way possible. It is not about personal opinion. It is actually not really good for your teeth. First of all, the way they do it is they'll take their hand and grab and tear down. That is not the way to do it, okay? The reason why that is you risk ripping off your attachments, and yes, it does happen. You also risk damaging your teeth, and you also risk snapping the tray. Now, the proper way to take them out is, there's a couple of different ways. I got this little device with my trays, and I don't really use it too often. Sometimes when the trays are really tight on the first day, I might use this to aid in taking them off, but for the most part, I don't need it. I would take this little tool and loosen up the trays all around, mostly on the sides, and then I would be able to get a grip on the trays and then take them out. So the proper way to do this is you take this little take this little thingamabobber and I'll show you now how I do it. So I would, you know. You saw me going slowly around loosening the tray all around the teeth, and then eventually just pops out on its own. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is to actually just grab the tray from the back. You always want to grab the tray from the back, never from the front, for several reasons. Usually it tends to be a little bit tighter in the front and it's a little bit easier to get a grip on it in the back. So the way I take my trays out 95% of the time is simply take my fingers and into the back of my mouth. Make sure to wash your hands first, and you go into the back of your mouth and pop them out that way. I'll show you now. So this is what I do. I always go to this side. I pop it off from the inside in the back, and I slowly take it out. Okay. Once it pops off halfway, I come to the front to give it support, so that way it doesn't snap, and then the rest just comes out really easily. Same thing from the bottom trays. I always go to the sides and just pop them out. That's it. It's that simple and no issue. Cleaning the Invisalign trays. They sell cleaning crystals and this and that. Honestly, all you need is toothpaste and water. That's how I wash my trays all the time. Cool. Okay, not warm, because if you use really warm or hot water on the trays, it can potentially deform them. Do not do that. It's not good for the trays. So just lukewarm to cold water, so in between there, and toothpaste, and you just brush them. You should have no issues. You don't need to spend any extra money on any crystals or this or that. Some people will actually use like denture cleaners, and Invisalign themselves say like don't do that. It's not good for the trays. It can degrade the resin, so do not do that. If you have them, you don't need to do that. Like I said, just a little bit of toothpaste. You brush your teeth and then you brush your Invisaligns, and you're good. Whenever I go for my checkups, they always say, "Oh wow, your Invisaligns are really clean. They're really not stained at all." And it's because I actually just brush them. Whenever I put in a new tray, I actually I get headaches a lot of the time. Not every single tray, but I would say about 60% of the time, especially when the movements are great, I tend to get headaches. It's usually only on the first day, and it's nothing that, some ibuprofen won't fix. The headaches aren't severe or anything like that. It's bearable, but I'm really sensitive. I'm a big baby, so I definitely take that ibuprofen. As far as the list goes, I think you can tell, how much of one is present when I speak. I've had my trays in the entire time throughout this video. Would I recommend Invisalign? Of course. I've had such a positive experience in the 14 trays that I've done up to date. I can see a significant difference visually, but even more so mechanically. So when I bite down, I can tell how much my teeth have shifted. Should you get Invisalign for yourself or for your child? Like if you're considering this for a young child, it may not be the best idea for the sole reason that they can take them out whenever they want. And even having braces as a young kid isn't as awkward as it is for an adult, or even somebody in high school. Anyone under high school level, I would not recommend Invisalign for, because you have to have them in all the time, and children may not be as consistent. If it is for a younger person, I would definitely recommend go with the braces, because they're in and they have no options but to wear them. But if you are older, if you're someone who can't commit to them at least 22 hours a day, I would not recommend this. Some people will get Invisalign and only wear them at night, completely disregarding them during the day. So, for people like that, it's not going to work, okay? I have seen so many videos or reviews and comments on the internet where people say, "Oh, well, Invisalign didn't work for me, and I had to go and get halfway course correction done." So sometimes, okay, legitimately, the movements aren't going the way they should. That's fine, but a lot of the time, people don't wear their aligners the way they're supposed to. half the time, people will be like, oh, well, I'm just going to take them out for 2, 3, 4 hours for this event because I don't want to have plastic on my face if I'm going out to a date or something like that. Here's the thing. You are sabotaging your own progress, okay? Most mid-course corrections that are done for Invisalign are not as a result of the aligners failing to, do what they're supposed to do. It is a failure of the individual to actually wear their aligners for the recommended amount of time. If you can't commit to yourself, that you're gonna wear them, then don't. Do you know what I mean? Go for traditional braces. Yeah, it might suck, but you know what? At least you're gonna get the end result that you're hoping for and on the time schedule that, you have idealized. Things not to do with your aligners. I've heard some people say, I put them under hot water and then it loosens them up and then I put them in. No, okay? No. You're not supposed to do this, okay? That could potentially deform the tray and you're not going to get the benefit or the movement that you're supposed to get from them. Yeah, it'll loosen the tray up and it'll lose its shape. So when you put them back on your teeth, sure, they might go on a little bit easier, but they're also going to be deformed. They're going to form to your teeth. Think about those whitening trays that you have to warm up in water and then form them to your teeth. And then when they cool, they take the shape of your teeth. It's the same idea. If you're taking your aligners and putting them under warm water to loosen them up so they fit you easier, you're not doing yourself any favors. You're only setting yourself up for failure. I'm a quarter way in and I'm already really happy with the results. The only thing I do have to note though is the last time I was at the dentist, this tooth of the ear, it's not tracking properly. So that means that it's not moving with the trays the way it's supposed to. And as a result, I'll probably actually have to get an elastic to help pull this tooth down into place. And I'm really, really disappointed with this. But I have to do it to get the teeth that I want. And in all honesty, my dream teeth, I will have them one day. And when the day comes that I have to take off, my last tray and I'm good to go, I'm going to be walking around like this all the time. Like all the time. I'm looking forward to it. I have like a year to go. But I'm not worried. I'm excited. I didn't want to get traditional braces because I was already severely insecure about my teeth. And the last thing I wanted was, first of all, to have these like metal things inside my face, drawing more attention to my biggest insecurity. So when Invisalign came out, I actually many years ago went to an orthodontist. I got a consultation. And I was like, oh, hey, am I a candidate for Invisalign? He looks at my teeth. He's like, no, you're going to have to wear braces for 3 years and you're going to need face surgery. So we're going to cut up your jaw and rewire it shut. And it's going to cost like $16,000. And I was like, this happened when I was, I was like 16 at the time. And it was just ridiculous. And I was not interested. I'm pretty sure this guy was just after the big bucks because I never had any problems with my chewing or my bite. For me, it was a cosmetic thing. I didn't have a functionality problem. So for him to say like, we're going to cut open your face and we're going to charge you a shit ton of money to do this is basically just, bullshit. After that experience, I actually put off the whole teeth fixing crusade. I said, no way, if it's going to cost that much, it's going to take 3 years and I'm going to have be operated on. I said, no way in hell am I doing this. I put it off. But 6 years later or more, I actually went and I got a second opinion. I felt like, oh, well, you know what? Maybe the technology advanced and maybe something changed and, perhaps I am a candidate now for Invisalign. Like, you never know, right? Always get a second opinion. So I went and I actually talked to Dr. Ben Fong, and this was about 3 years ago. The initial visit that I had with him was 3 years ago. So Dr. Ben Fong took a look at my mouth and told me I was a candidate. I was so excited because I was like, oh my God, so I can address this and I can do it in half the time because Dr. Ben Fong said that I'd only need to do it for like a year and a half. And he said that I didn't need surgery. He's like, if you don't have functional issues with your mouth, which I didn't. He's like, you just have some overcrowding. So it's a non-issue. You know, it's like, you don't have pain, you don't have problems with chewing or things like that. So he's like, you don't need this. So he's like, that guy's a joke. He just probably after your money. Don't worry about it. We're gonna get you fixed up. I have really nothing but good things to say about Dr. Beng Fong. I've had such a positive experience with him. There may be some things that I didn't cover in this video. If there's anything that you'd like me to address, or if you have any questions, please put them in the comment section below. Or you can tweet me at #AskIrvi. Maybe in my next video on Invisalign, I can actually cover, you know, any questions that you might have or address, you know, any comments. I will be making another video on my progress. Please subscribe so that you can follow me through this journey. I think we're done.